Today you will see how you can edit article, book, research paper, thesis, or even if you want to learn how to edit others people's work. Professional editors with long careers in editing go through those steps without knowing. It's like their autopilot is turned on when they are editing. But before we start, you need to know, during editing, you will come across some work that is easy to edit and others will need deeper editing, where you will need to execute all mentioned steps. First of all, good editing must include 4 basic steps: content editing, structural editing, style editing, and lastly, presentation editing. Content and structural editing require good knowledge of the topic, where style and proof editing require good English knowledge. Let's agree on one thing. People confuse editing with writing. If you don't want to do content and structural editing yourself, this means you need another one to write it for you. In the first step of content editing, you need to separate your writing piece into separate sentences. All you need to do is to hit enter on the keyboard between any 2 dots. This will make your draft easier to go through. If you are trying to edit a book, try to edit chapter by chapter. Now, make a quick look evaluation for each sentence. This includes remove repeated sentences. Remove sentences that do not add any new information. Make sure quotes sentences are quoted properly. When a new name is mentioned, add the position and the title. This usually happens when you are writing an article and you're trying to quote someone. You need to mention his name or her name and the position or the title. The third step in content editing is deleting irrelevant points and remove rambling. If you are talking about oranges, make sure you don't mention apples. Overall, get rid of repeated information. Yes, it will make your draft shorter, but you cannot keep repetitions. Nevertheless, sometimes you read 2 articles about the same topic. Try to mention the differences between the 2 work or mention one and refer to the other. Now moving to verify facts and numbers. You need to make sure your numbers are correctly presented in the right units. If you are providing information on a graph or in a table and you talked about it in the content, make sure you mentioned the same numbers using the same units. Final step in content editing is adding any missing information. You have to ask yourself, did you cover all angles of the topic or you need to write more information? Go through the points and see if all points cover the topic or not. Now is your chance to add more information to your manuscript, but remember, without any repetitions. This is an article that I wrote about collagen peptide. I made changes to the article so we'll be able to edit it. Let's try to content edit this article. Before we start together, try to content edit it yourself and see how much did you go with content editing the article. Now, before I start editing, what I need is actually turn on the tracking changes so I know what I did and what I missed and if I need to reject one of the edits that I have done. First step in content editing, I will hit enter between each 2 sentences. We will try to write a header for each couple of sentences. The header should be about the idea of the sentences that I wrote underneath. You could see that I have here very short sentences that I may need to join together in the structural editing step. But for now, let's try to write a title or a header for each couple of sentences. So the first one, it talks about collagen is the most abundant insoluble protein. So it talks about the collagen definition. Let's mark this in red so I can remember that this is the title that I wrote. Then we talk here about the composition of collagen. So let's try to write a title here, collagen composition. In here, we are talking about the degradation of collagen. But before the degradation, cell and the tissue in mammals are supported by collagen network. So why collagen? Why we are interested in collagen? Here, the aging and degradation. So collagen degradation. In this sentence, you could see that we start to talk about the collagen formation. Actually, from this sentence as well, we will have here the collagen formation. Here are the types of collagens. So let's start types. And in here, back again, we are talking about why collagen and why you are interested in collagens. Let's change this title. Why collagens? Actually, we don't need this title. And the cell and tissues, you could see that we in here we introduce the types of collagens. So let's move it to collagens types down. So go to here for type 1 and type 2. Now let's move to the headers that we created and see if they are following a right order. So first is the collagen definition, collagen composition. Now moving to collagen degradation, then collagen formation. So it is better to move collagen formation and type of collagens. Then I talk about the collagen degradation. So let's remove this one and move it down here. Then if I have here any sentence that doesn't belong to my title, let's move this collagen degrades in here because it talks about collagen degradation as well. Now if I moved it to the top here and if I looked at the order of the sentences, so I could see that some of those sentences are repeated sentences. We will try to organize them more in the structural editing because I will need to rewrite some of those sentences. But for now, I can see that the triple chain, here we are talking about the triple chains and we are talking here about the triple chain as well. But here we are talking about the amino acids. So let's move the triple chains on the top. And the three stranded are held together by the hydrogen bond, so it comes after this sentence. Then the triple helix motif. In here, the three amino acids should come in that sentence. Then the angle. I will move this angle. And let's move this angle of the three-stranded helical structure here, triple helix. By that, we almost finished all steps in the content editing. Next time, we will structural edit this article.